What's up everyone, it's Jambors, new video, new podcast talk, and today's topic is about of the direction of Eurovision nowadays. A little bit of analysis and a little bit of constructive critique, or more likely of telling you like which way it might go, which way is going, and what might be the outcome. Of course, this is my opinion, this is my vision, those are the thoughts I'm basically having in my head, and I really would like to share it with you. I will talk today a lot about the national languages at Eurovision, especially this year, which is like mostly actually I think this is the most national languages in general or non-English singing songs, and why this is kind of good or bad, or more likely where it leads. And I will give you more examples. Disclaimer, which is important, this is nothing against national languages, and also this is nothing about what countries are sending. It's not hatred or something like this, even though you might find my thoughts a little bit, not, I wouldn't say offensive, but I think that you might find them like this is Eurovision about United by Music, this is about the expo, this is about the cultures and so on. Yes, I will tell you that I have nothing against it, because this is one way exactly which Eurovision can go. But I first will talk about some trend I see, and I think this is somehow connected to world politics in general. The societies are changing, and everything kind of becomes isolated, let's say. And this comes also with the languages, right? Especially in Europe, where almost every single country has their original language, which also is that original that these other countries or the neighbors really don't understand properly what the other says, which creates barriers. And you hear barriers, it's not creating connections. That's the reason why all the time in human history, every, let's say, dominant empire or whatsoever come in and try to influence their language everywhere, because when everybody speaks the same language, it makes all the communications easier, it makes to building bridges easier, it makes the connections easier, and therefore it means conflicts to not really happening that easy. Yes, and that's language. Now, why I'm saying this is also Eurovision facts. When you know how many Eurovision artists and how many Eurovision songs became huge world hits, or at least European hits, in their domestic languages. Not so many actually, because most of them were successful in English, regardless if we like the language or not. The reason is that it's more accessible and more people understand, more people get into it. And you know, I had the thought something like this podcast about lyrics, how kind of secondary important they are, but when they come to be important, so you want to like to dig into it and you would like to sing it also, it's always easier and approachable in the language you handle. And in Europe, it's mostly English across, because not everybody can speak French, German, Ukrainian, Polish, Czech, Italian, but kind of most people can, as a second language, can speak English, especially the, like, let's say 40 people who are now 40 and younger. So this is of course approachable, and it was always in the history a little bit more somehow approachable, because also this is influenced by US and so on and so on. Now, I don't want to talk about I don't want to say that Eurovision songs needs to be sung in English. No, this is sovereign decision of every single country, every single artist, in what language they would like to sing, even though it's a gibberish, it's some invented language. It doesn't really matter, because I still believe that songs themselves, the beauty of music is that it must first hit you with its melody, the whole kind of concept of melody, including the voice and how the language sounds, without you needing to understand. Like, very amazing music works regardless. The successful music, on the other hand, if the music should be successful over the globe, or like this is a huge goal, but let's say in Europe, it's bigger probability that it will be the one which is the one sung in English. logically. It's a logic, so there is nothing against it. And also, and there is the fact what is going on now to Eurovision, that Eurovision fans, I think they are kind of bored also a little bit of English, and they would like to see some national elements. But that also will lead that those songs, like minimum, if some song will be successful at Eurovision this year, probably won't. And I can already see it in numbers. I can already see it in Spotify streaming numbers and so on, which are basically connected to domestic markets or a little bit smaller region connected countries like Scandinavia, for example, because they kind of share the language, or Italy, which is a huge country where the song is successful, kind of, and also some others which are like German song which works in Germany. That doesn't mean that those songs cannot somehow reach out, further. 996 Luftballon made it worldwide, but it's a huge exception, It's one of those songs in the era. Italian songs also, they are basically mostly domestically successful. Rarely they get outside of the Italy, even though you see those crazy big numbers, but Italians listen to music. And in Italy, the songs which are not on Spotify over 1 million every single day, they are really not successful. So we can also say that Lucio Scorzi's song is like successful on the level which, for example, in Czechia we would be wow, but not in Italy. It's like okay, it's fine, it's great. The same kind of with France. They sent this same kind of actually for Kai from Sweden, and also the numbers are decreasing. Like even in general, the songs which don't have the average 1 million and more streams per day are really not successful European wide. They can be successful in the country, but very rarely they make it outside, because this is not a lot after all. If you imagine that in Europe, let's say in European Union, 500 million people are living, 1 million per day, it's not really that much, because also so many people are listening it on repeat, for example, so it's not 1 million. And imagine Loreen, who for a certain amount of days, like a lot of weeks or months, had over 2 million streams, and still she didn't make it worldwide, kind of. It's still, even though this song resonates everywhere, kind of, but it's still not this greatest hit, it's not. Duncan Lawrence, imagine his streaming numbers were over 3 million for several months, even more, and even now, and he has over 1 billion streams, I think 1 billion and 300 million, something crazy number. This is the world hit, successful, crazy. The same comes with Snap. So imagine how much number of streamings you must have to become recognized worldwide. And new, like crazy, but also that must come with the hits. And you know what's connecting all those hits together? They are sung in English, because those markets you want to penetrate has this in common. Of course, you can say, for example, Spain. Their market is Spanish and South America. Fair enough. I think no one forces anybody to do English things, and also I don't think it's very essential to do crossovers if it's not done extremely smartly, because it somehow doesn't fit to the proper music. I just want to say that more and more we will be singing in our domestic languages, less and less we will understand each other, less and less this music will be compelling. And the fact, it's not because in domestic languages great music cannot be done. The issue is that mostly, and this is mostly, again, exceptions are very welcome, is that they are reflecting something what's happening in the country, who really no one cares about the music. It's like if you come in here in Prague and ask how many Polish artists you know, I bet that 99% of people will tell you I have no clue. If you go to France and ask about Czech artists, no clue. I think in France many people, or most even, don't even point out Czechia on a map. So if they are interested in the culture of music, and also this is not even like competitive, on foreign markets. So if they are interested, they will come in here and go to concert here out of random and find out, wow. But this is for a very minimum of people. That's the reason why I don't think that for Eurovision in general, it's essential to go this extremely nationwide to sell some our pride. Because if we are selling those differences, which are the languages, which no one cares, no one wants to learn them, we cannot connect to each other. We cannot do it. And I know that I'm talking to hardcore Eurovision fans, but the thing is that you are a little bit different kind of a niche, and be included that you're looking at the contest 24/7, 365, and this is not a 24/7, doesn't matter. You understand, every single day throughout the year, and that you are bored or you would like to hear something else and so on. But if you ask random people, for example, about this Swedish controversy, like they send all the time the same cliche kind of pop song. Yes, but if you ask, for example, people in Italy and ask them what was the last piece of Sweden, they don't know. Most people just really watch it once, and lots of people, if lucky, can also hear the song more times, but they don't connect it as you do. And I think producers are listening too much of hardcore community, which is not relevant. Imagine that football clubs will listen only to ultra fans. They will never develop. They would never develop anywhere. And I think that the opposite kind of happened, and sometimes you say that fans are not listened. I think you are actually listened extremely too much. And then the Eurovision goes sideways to basically, fulfill your needs, but needs of a little small group, even it feels huge, maybe counting hundreds of thousands of people. But we are talking of viewership and possible markets of several hundreds of million people. So then we are just dropped in the water. And I think Eurovision needs to find a way of united by music. We are not even united by music anymore, with this completely national wide. But it is a hard topic because it feels that I would force countries to speak sing in English, sending English songs. But also this is not a way. I think the way is to find a quality levels which everybody can understand, which can come from our own roots, to find this closure. But if we want Eurovision to be successful, and if we want Eurovision artists to be successful, the way is basically not to make it domestic. The way is make it international, and that's impossible without English, at least nowadays. Maybe one day Chinese, who knows, but probably not. It's essential, and we can celebrate our cultures anyway, because songs can fuse, songs can come with melodies which comes for a certain country. Those are influences which are delivering this and connecting us at some point. If we will go completely on national levels, we will lose quality. And now you can say but Eurovision is not about this. It's but what it should be about, if we bring up more quality into it, if we are able to produce more quality and better music and better songs, and they can be even in domestic languages, but stronger, and feel that this is connecting us, this will connect us. But this focus on just being domestic, and then don't admit, okay, it's a Greek culture, but okay, but it's not. This is a bad example because it's quite a good song. But let's say, but doesn't matter. Let's say Greek or Serbian or Ukrainian. Good, we deliver it, but it's deliver good songs first. I think this should be the appeal. Then you don't understand our culture. If I want to go to Greece or Serbia or something, I will go there by myself. I cannot understand your culture, even though through some song, and it's not even offensive. It's only ignorance if you tell me this, because then you don't want basically say we don't want to improve because this is what we do. It's yes, but you can improve, right? You can do it better. This is not a limit. And I think we are finding excuses because we cannot build Eurovision bigger and grow it better and bigger and stronger. And I've seen throughout past 4 years that the strength of Eurovision is passing away. One of the issues is this hypocrisy. We are uniting by music, by completely not uniting anything. We are not communicating anything, and we are doing things on national levels. Bureaucrats are now leading the Eurovision, and this didn't change this year or since for next upcoming 2 seasons. And I don't think this might change to better somehow, because I don't feel that there is some really connecting element throughout the whole picture, and say like some realistic numbers, like where we want to go, what we want to do. Eurovision is like countries, let's do whatever. Countries, let's do whatever, but let's work together on approaching artists the right way, to give you the right marketing instruments, to help you, to lead you to fulfilling something, to believe that we as Europeans can really become a huge music powerhouse. Because you know what my dream would be, that after Eurovision ends, in other that I will go to the bar in Portugal, and there will be there I will hear the Czech song, or that you will come from Portugal to Prague, you will come to bar and there will be a Portuguese song. Not that it ends up with Eurovision, because then what culture we shared for 3 minutes in one night, or 6 minutes in 2 nights, is it enough? I don't think it's quite enough, you know. I don't think it's quite enough for popularization of our musical elements in general. And, you know, this is what connects us. So, after all, this talk is not about the language. Just if we want to make it to the level, as I said at the end, I think to go with English, it's much smarter idea, but it's not forced to anybody. I think the most important is to bring in such good music that it really connects everybody, and ideally not just for one night. That would be brilliant, because this one night stand never ever connected anyone. It doesn't really work this way most of the time. And I think most of us know about it, that this is maybe fun for one night, but you know, if you want to share a connection and something, this is a bigger relationship, and bigger relationship with comes with higher, like much more sophisticated work, effort, time invested, and quality. Because this is what we after all want, and I don't believe that it's impossible. I believe it's possible, but it must be it must be talked about, and it must be also executed somehow. It must be done with people who believe in such thoughts also, and then everything is possible. Because you know, I have a feeling that we say everything is possible, but after all we find excuses that nothing is really possible. This is not possible, this wouldn't go, this wouldn't work. Yes, particular things maybe won't work, but in general, some big thought, it of course it might work. If it worked somewhere else, why it shouldn't work in here? Why we are so, you know, short-minded in this? Think big, dream big, and achieve big. I believe in it, and I hope I motivated you, maybe at least to have some thoughts, and also you can write them in the comments below or here. Subscribe channel, like the video, and if you want to have exclusive content and also support this channel, become members. There is a lot of content exclusive just for members, so that would be brilliant. So see you there. Thank you for watching. Bye.